Greetings to you. I'm Kathleen Arola-Johnson from Creative Solace Studios, where art creates a soothing oasis for healing and self-growth. This art tutorial is part of my main meal series. It's a standalone art lesson from start to finish. Today's lesson is desk charms and tree charms. These are adornments for either inside or outside of your house. Their purpose is to catch your eye, bring a smile to your face, and remind you about whatever intention you put on them, such as remembering about the beauty of life. They can also fall under the category of mindfulness art, because you can be aware of your present moment while you are stringing the beads on them, and also while you're looking at them as the finished project hanging up. The supplies used in this project are seed beads or other small beads for stringing, crimp beads, which are really soft metal tubes that can be squished with the pliers, and then they act like a knot on your wire so that the other beads won't slide off. Some kind of beading wire, or I'll give some alternatives to that. Wire nippers or cutters. And either regular jewelry pliers, a small pliers, or a crimping tool. A crimping tool has a couple different spaces in it, the grooves, so that it can fold your crimping bead in half and make it kind of round. I'll show examples of both of those. Alternative materials for stringing include elastic cord, twine or string, or even embroidery floss. Just be aware if you use one of these types of stringing materials that it can wear out easier, especially if you hang it outside. Another alternative is if you want to have some charms hanging off your project in addition to beads on the string. If you do this, I recommend having a jump ring or a split ring to attach the charm to the project so that it can hang down and dangle off from the main project. I did want to mention about pliers. For anybody who might have arthritis or the grip issues with your hands like I do sometimes, because pliers use the main part of your hand to squeeze with, I can usually use those. It's things that I use with the tips of my fingers that are harder for me to control. But if pliers are a challenge for you, do this with a buddy and do the project with them, or just tie knots in a string or a twine rather than using the crimping beads. Desk charms. These are made with the intention of marking joy, beauty, magic, or another intention in your life. They focus me and bring me back to the present moment with a spark of energy. The purpose of them is to catch my eye throughout the day and be reminded of the sparkly specialness of life. You can put whatever intention you want on them. You could hang them near your workspace or art desk, on a dresser drawer pull, the knob of a dresser drawer, on a doorknob. It could be attached as a zipper pull on clothing or a bag or a purse, basically wherever you want to put them. Just adjust the loop on the end of the charm for wherever you want to hang it. Tree charms. They're a longer and possibly heavier version of the desk charm. The intention behind them is to hang them outside on a tree or another plant to show gratitude and specialness for that plant, to be swinging gracefully in the breeze, and just bring a little magic to your outside space. Both desk charms and tree charms are customizable to whatever you want to put in them and how you want to use them, the intentions that you want to use. They're also easy to slip inside an envelope as a gift. If you're mailing them, use a padded envelope. Otherwise, they can slip right inside with a greeting card that you're giving to someone and bring a little specialness to their day as well. The project handout is linked in the description of this video. On the top left, there's a space to brainstorm a list of possible intentions for your artwork. Then you can mark your favorite or put it in the semicircle at the top. There are spaces for sketches, notes, and measurements. On the bottom left, where the square is a place to write an affirmation about your chosen intention. That is an uplifting statement that you want to think about whenever you see your project after you're finished. On the bottom right in the circle is a space for reflections and ideas for future projects that may have been inspired by this one. Let's start off with our beading wire. Decide how long you want your project to hang, and then cut about that much of your stringing wire doubled. So it's always safe to have a little bit extra wire. So I'm doing maybe 16 inches of my beading wire and then cutting it off. So starting with our crimp beads, I took out 3 because that's what we'll be needing in the project. Then I'm taking both ends of the wire and I'm putting them into one of the crimp beads at a time, both ends of the wire threading through the tube in the same direction. I'm gently sliding that down. These are tiny, so you gotta be careful with them, until I have a loop that is the size that I want to hang on to something for the finished project. I'm putting a black notebook underneath this so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing here. Once you have the loop that's the size you want to hang this project from, your crimp bead is right here. I mentioned there's 2 different ways you can do it. These are jewelry making pliers that are just going to make the crimp bead flat when you squeeze it. And I like to flip it over and flatten it from both sides so it looks like that. If you have crimping pliers, there's 2 different teeth in them so that you can bend the crimp bead with it and then fold the crimp bead in half so it actually becomes round. Either way works like a knot. This crimp bead isn't going anywhere. You can test it and it will hang your project from there. Now we've got 2 strings to thread our beads onto. So here's the loop at the top and the crimp bead right here. I've got 2 strings or 2 legs coming down from there to thread the beads onto. Take some time. Now is the point about being mindful and setting your intentions, thinking about what meaning you want to put into this project and what meaning you want to get out of it when you look into it afterwards. Maybe put on some music of your choice and spend some time stringing your beads. You choose how many to put and how long to work on it. I'll speed up this process. Okay, so I've chosen my final bead. It's going to be this little amber colored one. Before I put it on, I'm putting one more silver crimp bead. That goes on first. Down to here. And I'm not crimping it yet. I'm going to put on this final bead next to it, after it. So now I have crimp bead and the last bead. Next, I am taking the end of this wire and going back through the crimp bead. So I'm leaving that amber bead like it is, going back through the crimp bead in the direction of the top of the project. I want to show it to you before I pull it tight. So we have top of the project, final bead down here, and crimp bead right here. You choose how loose you want it to lay. You don't want it too tight. I'm going to make mine just a tiny bit tighter. Okay. Now I'm taking my pliers, flattening the crimp bead, either leaving it like it is or going back in with the crimping tool to now bend it and fold that crimp bead around into a tube. Oh, that's still a little crooked. There we go. So that's the end of one side of our project. Now we have extra string down here. So I'm gonna see if, I don't know if it can go through this other bead or not. Yeah, it can. And then go back up a couple beads just to hide the tail end of this. and then clip off the excess. That's what our project looks like so far. And now it's time to do the other side. You choose if it's the exact same length as the first one, or a little bit shorter, or a little bit longer. For this example of the tree charm, I wanted to show how I used heavier beads so it can be weighed down more as it hangs outside and blows in the breeze. I did a bigger loop at the top. You could actually do the loop and crimp it while it's on the tree. So it's attached, the loop is the right size attached to the tree. I have done one strand this time, which means I just crimped it once at the top. But I also wanted to show how to do a 3-strand project. So I'm going to the top bead, this little white one, and I'm taking a new beading wire, threading it through that bead, if it's big enough. There it comes. And pulling it. So now I have 2 additional strands onto which I can hang beads. I'm going to have them be different lengths. So one is longer and the other's shorter. And in that way, you can have 3 strands onto one project. After making the second and third strands, I am taking another crimp bead, putting both the ends of that second and third strand together through the crimp bead. Sliding it on. All the way up to the top. These can be hard to hold on to. Now I'm taking the pliers, crimping that extra crimp bead. Like so. Here's the finished tree charm with its 3 strands. I decided to make the 2 shorter ones with some smaller beads and the longer one with bigger beads. And and the finished desk charm. Here are some pictures of student work. When I was teaching in elementary school, I did a similar project with my students there. Besides the materials that we've mentioned today, they also used kiln-fired clay charms that they created and some decorative fibers. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial about how to make desk charms and tree charms. I'm Kathleen Arola-Johnson of Creative Solace Studios, where art creates a soothing oasis for healing and self-growth. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, click like and comment, and look for more of my videos about art, healing, wellness, and life.